because mindset does matter. And for me, my case is, you're looking at me like this, and normally when I'm on stage, it's a little different. But as I said, I was born without legs, and this is who I am, and this is how I've lived my life. So this is not a magical green screen studio. This is how I've lived my life, and I'm going to talk a little bit about today about that journey that I took, how important my mindset was, and the ups and downs of living with what you would call a disability. I've never called it that. I hate the word disabled. A car is disabled, a human being is not. Handicap is something that you want in golf and not as a human being. So we get caught up in all these terms that they've labeled us as who we are. And, my life has just been about being normal. And that's the only way I've ever lived my life and known my life is this way. And I was very lucky that I had the support of coaches and parents and people along the way that helped me to get where I am, where I do have these Emmys that are behind me that, are really awesome and proud. And I got those based on my ability, not my disability. These things don't say, we feel sorry for you and we give you a participation trophy. It's like, these have my name on it, and they're very heavy. And Susan Lucci, I think, only has one of these, so I've got a little bit up on her. But my life story is something straight out of science fiction because of the things that I've done and the accomplishments that I've been able to do. Again, with the help and the mindset of what overcoming not having legs. And so, what I'd like to do here is just kind of take you on a little bit of a journey with me. And let's see here, share, and make this full screen. And so this is my kind of life story. Born in 1966 without legs, strike one. Put up for adoption right from the hospital, strike two. But I was lucky to have two very loving parents, a World War II veteran and a housewife who raised me and instilled in me that I could do anything that I wanted to do in my life. And so they never held me back. They allowed me to be who I was, which then, as a young age, the Shriners started giving me artificial legs, and I was putting on shows around, California and Arizona, singing and telling dumb jokes, and it would help fundraise. And we were poor, and we lived in a lot of poverty. And this is the house that I lived in high school. It was a one-room house. I didn't even have a bedroom. We had a refrigerator that blocked my bed. A couple years ago, I had that opportunity to bring my sons there. And my oldest, Brady, said, "Dad, why did you choose to live here?" And I said, "Brady, I didn't choose to live here, but I could choose where I wanted to end up." And that's when sports started helping me. So I started playing baseball. I started wrestling. I started playing football. The only legless athlete in the history of sports in Arizona to ever do such a thing. And I was playing varsity baseball at that level in Wickenburg. And I was playing in the outfield. I was winning tournaments at state. And I was tackling and doing things just like everybody else. And it started to give me notoriety. And it put me on a TV show back in the 80s called That's Incredible, where I said I wanted to be a professional baseball player and I wanted to work on TV. And also on that show, a little 5-year-old kid who kept chipping balls into my legs, a little guy named Tiger Woods. So you never know whose paths are going to cross in this amazing life. And it helped me to propel myself and my mindset to then take it to the next level. College football, the only legless player ever to play college football, which also led to a tryout with the Dallas Cowboys, if you can believe that. Again, a guy without legs trying out for a professional sports team, and it is about the mindset. It's not about my ability. It's my ability to think that I could do it and go out and execute it. And then that dream came true, as I said, of professional baseball in 1996, playing with the St. Paul Saints, teammates with the legendary Darryl Strawberry. In fact, I even pinch hit for Darryl Strawberry in a minor league game after he'd already hit 3 home runs. And I took a called third strike as a pinch hitter. But again, starting at second base. And then the epitome of my life, 20 years at ESPN. I've been in TV for 38 years, 20 of those at ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. But that came to an end. And now I work for the Disability Channel. Another new thing that helping showcase people with disabilities, where I get to go around and report and do interviews with some of the biggest stars and talk to Russell Wilson and Tim Tebow and all these amazing people that I get to do that talk to me, not based on my disability, but about a guy that knows how to talk to people and just get the best out of them. And because I get to go to Wounded Warrior Veterans games and things like that, it's helped me now work for Ability Media at Quinnipiac University. I'm a professor teaching TV to students and putting on baseball camps around the country for Disability Dream and Do, where I get to take a little girl like my friend here, Lil, who's blind, and teach her how to play baseball and play catch and run around the bases. In fact, we're up for an award this week for top moment in minor league baseball this year. So my life has been amazing, but it's far from over because now I have three sons that I'm also raising and trying to give them a normal life. And these teenagers are teaching me more about life than I ever did as an
Wow.
athlete, having that normal life and continuing that, getting an award from Lee Steinberg last month in New York at the Runway of Dreams at Fashion Week, where, this big old fat guy's, dressed in a fancy suit. And of course, they had me go on the runway, so I had to model and ham it up, so I was too for my legs that day. But you get caught in the moment of these things, and I try to have fun with it because the elephant in the room is I don't have legs, but I've been able to turn that and make that into the most. And that's why now I'm so excited to work with Brady and Michael and everybody for Watering Seeds, because now we've got a show. Brady has put on some amazing events. He's a wonderful guy. He's not going to take credit for the love he provides for so many people. And Michael joining us now as a mind coach with his mindset and teaching everybody that life isn't over if you're a veteran, if you have PTSD, any type of ailment, because there are ways to fix that internal mind. So we get to travel around and interview some of the biggest celebrities and put on big events. And we were just in San Diego, to Comedy Fest. And, Brady's giving away wheelchairs to some amazing people. That's what Watering Seeds is all about. And that is why we're here today. And again, we talk about my life and the things that I've overcome. And I'm just a normal guy, but I have been to those lowest parts of my life. I talked about my parents being the biggest facilitators of my support in my life, but my mom died in 1984, the day I left for college, and my dad died a year and a half later, both of them from cancer. So I lost two of the big supports of my life. And even though I had gone to Minnesota at Augsburg to start my career, I dropped out of college after my dad got sick from cancer from taking care of my mom. I moved back to Arizona. I got into the wrong things. After my dad died, I became addicted to cocaine. And I found myself in 1986 just, living a shambles of a life, doing cocaine. And one night I was just coked out of my brain. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I don't think I was intentionally trying to kill myself, but it really was a cry for help. And I remember holding my breath underwater for up to 2 minutes at a time. And I did this one time for, I don't know, it must have been 2.5 minutes. And I popped up out of the jacuzzi. And I'll never forget, I looked up in the sky and I thought, all these people that believed in me, would be so disappointed. My parents would be disappointed. My coaches would be disappointed. This guy without legs that was this hero superstar is now a cokehead. And I vowed that day that if I could get my scholarship back and go back to Minnesota and get my TV job back, that I would never, ever, ever look back and do something like that again. So I have been sober since January of 1987. I went back to Minnesota. I got back in college. I got my TV job back, and the rest is history. And so I know what it's like to be those lows. I wake up every day of my life and I don't have legs. And I get out of my bed and the ground is cold and my ass is frozen. You know what? It's a gift.
Mm.
If you don't realize that you have gifts, everyone has a gift. And no matter being a veteran, and you've gone out and done the most important thing that a human being could ever be asked to do, to sacrifice your life, to sacrifice those of you that you're working with, and to go ahead and do what you're told to do, no matter the outcome. We can't judge what happened. We can only support those veterans that were a part of that. And so I say I've had the greatest life ever. These are my gifts, not having legs. But I wake up every day and I sometimes think, man, this sucks. I got to go out in the snow. My hands are going to freeze. But there are people that have it way worse off than me. I've played football with Snoop Dogg in some of these big celebrity veteran football games that I've been a part with. And I see these veterans that have gone through these things, that have lost a leg, that have lost their vision, that have been blown up and burned, disfigurement on their faces, or someone in their unit died and they've got to deal with that stress and coming home, and people don't look at them the same because of what we were perceived of, why we were a part of it in the first place. But mindset does matter, and that's why it's so important with what we're doing with Watering Seeds, because we're trying to help those veterans that are dealing with PTSD and their families and those that it impacts. Because if the veterans aren't out there trying to get a job, who's going to support that family? Because we know the government doesn't take care of these guys very well. I hear the horror stories of the drug addiction. I hear the horror stories of opiates and all the things that comes with the fact that these veterans have had to deal with that. You know, every 22 seconds there is a suicide by a veteran, and we've got to stop that. It's fixable, and it starts with the mind. It starts with the people of BFCOSB, because you care, and we have to continue. We can't forget these guys, and that's why the mindset is so important for our veterans and for the non-veterans. You can have PTSD from things that have happened into your life, but it's so important that we have these moments where we can talk about it, because it's tough to deal with. If you haven't been to that lowest of low, those struggles that would suddenly make a veteran who has a family want to kill himself when he has so much to live for. We've seen rock stars that have done the same thing, that have the perfect life, and yet there's something that triggers something in that moment. And now with the new 988 coming out, where we can get these opportunities for those folks that need that help, it's so much more imperative to get that word out. So if you can take something away from me today in just this short time that we've been together, yeah, I've had a pretty tough life. I've had things that I have to deal with, the struggles of growing old, the surgeries I've had on my shoulders. But you know what? I'm going to continue to go out there and show that you can make the most of everything that you have, the gifts that I've been given as a 15-year-old kid on ABC, saying I wanted to be on TV and I wanted to play professional baseball, and oh yeah, I don't have any legs. So the mindset is you can overcome and do almost anything in life if you put your mind to it. It's a lot of hard work. Hell, I fall down a lot. I'm like a weeble though, so I wobble. But, you know, I fail a lot. I'm not a perfect person. But the best thing that I can do now is to be a father, take care of my kids, and show people empathy instead of sympathy. Because those successes can be had by anybody else. I'm not special. I'm not a hero. I'm not a role model. I'm just a guy that wanted to play sports and was able to overcome that. And the mindset is so important to that.